Welcome everyone, let's get started.
Lesson 9. Relative pronouns. Relative clauses. 1. Relative pronouns. Look at the table below to know more about relative pronouns. 2. Relative adverbs. Relative adverbs can be used in place of a relative pronoun and preposition. This will make the sentence easier to understand. Three. Relative clauses. Relative clauses tell us more about people and things. Example. Marie Curie is the woman who discovered radium. There are two kinds of the relative clause. 1. Finite relative clause. 2. Non-finite relative clause. A. Finite relative clause. To make clear which person or thing we are talking about. Example. Marie Curie is the woman who discovered radium. In this kind of relative clause, we can use that, who or which. No commas. We can leave out the pronoun if it is the object of the relative clause. Example. This is the house that my parents built. Or this is the house my parents built. B. Non-finite relative clause. We also use relative clauses to give more information about a person, thing or situation. Example. She doesn't love me, which disappoints me. With this kind of relative clause, we use commas to separate it from the rest of this sentence. We cannot use that and we cannot leave out the pronoun. Example. We had fish and lobster, which I always enjoy. Not we had fish and lobster, I always enjoy. Four. How to make relative clauses. Look at the example. The teacher has won a lot of prizes. My parents are talking to her. We can combine two separate sentences into one. 1. The teacher who my parents are talking to has won a lot of prizes. 2. My parents are talking to the teacher who has won a lot of prizes. Five. Reduced relative clauses. A. Active. If the relative clause is the active one, and relative pronouns serve as the subject, relative clause can be reduced by a phrase beginning with being. Example. The man who stood at the door is my uncle. Equals the man standing at the door is my uncle. B. Passive. If the relative clause is a passive one, and relative pronouns serve as the subject, relative clause can be reduced by a phrase beginning with past participle. VP. Example. The woman who was given a flower looks very happy. Equals the woman given a flower looks very happy. C. We can leave out the pronoun if it is the object of the relative clause. Example. This is the house my parents built. D. Infinitive relative clause. If before the relative pronoun, there are phrases, the first, the second, the last, the only, or the superlative form, the relative clause can be reduced by an infinitive verb phrase. Example. The only room which was painted yesterday was Mary's. Equals the only room to be painted yesterday was Mary's. Exercise, reduce these relative clauses. Six. Relative pronouns with prepositions.
Exercise, choose the best answer.
Exercise, combine two separate sentences into one using a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. Exercise, find and correct the mistakes